Hi everyone, thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about equalization and how you can use an EQ to improve the balance in your mix. Okay, so first of all, what is an EQ? Well, basically, an equalizer allows you to adjust the level of different frequencies in the audio signal. And we have two types of equalizers. We have parametric EQs, which gives you a more in-depth control of the frequency spectrum. Basically, you can adjust parameters like gain, frequency, and bandwidth. And the other type of equalizers are called graphic equalizers. These equalizers give you a better visual of how you are modifying the audio signal, but the parameters that you can adjust are more limited. And in today's video, I'm going to focus a little bit more on using parametric EQs on Mixdown and how you can improve your mix by using EQs. So in short, mix EQ is not an EQ where you make the instruments sound best on their own. In this type of EQ, we take into consideration the overall frequency spectrum of the finished mix, and we make sure that all the instruments have their own assigned frequency range where they can live in your mix. Okay, so in parametric EQs, you have a tool that is called Shelving Filters, and this tool can basically change the level of a whole end of the frequency spectrum. So you have a low shelf or a high shelf, and you have two controls for this shelving filters. You have a gain control, which basically tells the level of change you want to apply, and you have what's called a cutoff frequency or a corner frequency. This basically tells the filter where the line is between the processed and the unprocessed signal. Okay, so how to use shelving filters. You take the fader of the channel down and then you bring it slowly back up. At some point you will hear frequencies that start to be prominent in your mix, and you can take a guess in what the frequency spectrum those frequencies are. Apply the appropriate shelf and then tweak the gain and the cutoff frequency knobs until you home in more exactly to that frequency that you're looking for. And always remember to do an A/B comparison by taking your equalizer on and off, just to make sure you are tweaking with the frequency that you want to adjust. So most of the times shelving filters are used for bass elements, and in particular to add a little bit of high end to the bass, because most of the times when you have different elements playing on top of the bass, like piano, guitar, you tend to lose the energy in the bass. So you can bring it back up by adjusting the high frequency of the bass track, and also this will make it sound a little better in systems that have smaller speakers, because smaller speakers will not be able to reproduce with good quality a low frequency bass sound. Okay, so another type of filter that you have available in equalizers is called picking filters, and these are more flexible and more precise in locating frequency domain issues in your mix. Basically, you have three controls in this type of filters. You have frequency, you have a gain control, and you have a bandwidth, which basically tells the filter how narrow or how wide you want the bandwidth of the frequency you're looking for to be. And this type of filters are very useful in making precision cuts in your frequency spectrum. And one way to find the frequency that is bothering you is by boosting with a high gain and a high bandwidth, boosting the frequency and sweeping throughout the frequency range. Once you have the frequency that is bothering you, take it down, or even easier, these days you can use what is called the spectrum analyzer, and this will show you what frequencies are prominent in your mix, and you can even sidechain this to another EQ in a different channel, and this will show if you have any masking frequencies between the two tracks. Okay, what are a couple of good EQ habits? Well, in the mixdown stage, you can use EQs to both cut and boost your frequencies, but I would recommend seeing EQs in the mixdown as a way to take down the frequencies you do not want, rather than trying to add some additional frequencies to the mix. And there's two reasons for this. As humans, our ears tend to like the louder signal better in between two audio signals. So by you boosting frequencies, you can just make the sound louder, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it sounds better or cleaner. And the other reason is that EQs actually do a lot of things beyond just adjusting the frequencies. They also adjust the phase, and you can have something that is called phase shifting or filter combing in between your tracks, and these are some artifacts that you do not want in your mix because it just makes things more complicated. That's when it comes to using EQs in the mixdown. However, if you are using EQs to sculpt the sound of your instruments, then again, you can use boosts and cuts. You can boost as much as you want here, as long as your instrument sounds as close to what you want it to sound. But just be careful, because sometimes you might have the tendency to try to add frequencies that are not naturally there, and this is very hard to do with equalizers. We have different tools for that purpose. You can use compressors, saturators, and a bunch of other stuff. That's about it for this video. Thank you guys for watching again, and remember, if you have any suggestions or any comments, drop them in the lines below, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you guys.